Hello and welcome back to another video. I am so glad you're here. On this channel, I talk about news, controversies, and drama on the bookish side of the internet, and I certainly hope you will stick around. Sorry if the lighting's a little weird, the sun is very bright, and I can't really do anything about it, so there you have it though. So a lot of you initially found my channel through all of the Britt Andrews videos, and a few weeks ago, my wonderful friend, Randy Nicole Reeds, reminded me of another situation that I learned about around the same time, but never really dug deeply into. And a huge shout out to her for providing me with a lot of the screenshots and background on this. I will link her videos on this same subject down below. So this is actually the same Threads post where I originally heard about Britt Andrews. So it's kind of funny to be revisiting this exact post, but to talk about another author. So this post was originally done by Lee Loves Books and says I did a little deep dive into the author Britt Andrews, who raised over $90K on a Kickstarter in 2023 for a series that wasn't even complete and completely ghosts and gaslights her readers. How has this lady not been reported for fraud? And someone replied to that, Saxon James writes, and said, Ellis James is another one who defrauded readers out of tens of thousands of dollars for a special edition in 2022. Then a year ago, gaslit readers into thinking people asking for refunds were the reason the books weren't delivered and sold more, then dipped again, and people still wreck this book all the time. Authors continue to pull this stuff because they continue to get away with it. So, Ellis James is a romance author who also writes under the name Ella James and is most well known for this book, Wrath. Full disclosure, I was not able to find anywhere, including their own website, that definitively noted what pronouns the author uses, so I will just be sticking with they, them. So back in December 2022, Ellis announced that a special edition of Wrath was being released with the following Instagram post. So you can see this mock-up of the cover, and it says special edition cover reveal, and the caption says, holiday surprise time. I've been keeping this little secret for months, and I'm so excited to announce the first ever official Wrath alt cover, a limited time special edition designed by Fortuitous Designer, aka Read Some More Katie, and formatted by Wanderlust Book Co. Katie and Ashley incorporated some of my own photography from the real locations that inspired the setting of Wrath, and we have an all-new paperback edition with a beautiful interior that has photos throughout. The divider symbols between scene breaks are donuts. I assume that's something to do with the story, but I don't know. I could not be more excited to share this very special edition. Orders will be open for about a week, as we'll need to get a final count and place a bulk order ASAP. I'll do a video this week or next with a copy of the paperback, but for now I included a small partial photo to show you how pretty the colors are when it prints. Look at the top of the page for an order form. Thank you for loving this book, Ezra and Miller, and for supporting me through the highs and lows of this writing journey. Love, Ellis. P.S. All books will be signed and personalized. And here is a photo of the inner pages that was teased on their website, and it's actually still up. So this is an incredibly popular book, and people were thrilled for this special edition to be available. So this again was in November, and in January, there was an email sent by Ellis's assistant Ashley to those who had ordered but hadn't been marked as paid, which is a little strange, but okay, because, I mean, you should be keeping track of that if you're a professional. So it says, hi, if you're getting this email, it means you aren't currently marked as paid for your Wrath signed book order. If you paid and we missed it, we're sorry. Please send proof of payment and we'll get it corrected. If you'd like to cancel your order, let us know. Thanks, Ashley, Ellis's assistant. And so the person whose screenshots these are replied with their proof, but something to note is that the PayPal account that customers were to use to send this money is not actually one that belongs to Ellis. Here is the screenshot that I blacked out whose it actually belongs to, but it says Wrath Special Edition plus shipping. It's Ellis, just using a friend's account because mine is messed up. I know that using PayPal for purchasing directly from the author is not an uncommon practice, but having to use someone else's because yours is messed up seems at best unprofessional and at worst super shady. Maybe this isn't as weird as it seems to me. I haven't purchased this way before, but it just raises red flags for me. So nothing else is mentioned about anything until June 2023, when customers received this email from Ashley, who I guess is actually Ellis's sister and assistant. So this says, Wrath Special Editions. Hi there, this is Ashley, Ellis's sister, with an update about the Wrath Special Editions. A small number of the books have been shipped, but many haven't. I understand it's been a very long wait and some people are upset. Ellis has had some things going on that have pulled them away from being able to get the books out. I think that much is pretty obvious. I really don't want to say more about it while keeping Ellis's personal life personal. The main thing Ellis has asked me to convey here is that there is no ill intention behind the delay. Ellis feels terrible and that it's been such a long wait and is very sad to have disappointed and upset people, especially this group of people who have supported the book and Ellis so generously. All I can do right now is apologize for the delay and tell you Ellis is committed to getting these books out. Ellis has all the books. Many of them are signed and packaged. I'm visiting soon and may be able to help get them all sent out. If you're in a position to wait and still want your book, please do so. We understand the frustration behind this situation and really just want to make it right. I'll be here in this inbox tomorrow if anyone wants to reply and chat more. Thanks and many apologies, Ashley W. So I'm sure you all know what I'm about to say because I've said it 100 times before. Once you take people's money and you aren't offering to give it back, your personal life issues are not a factor. If you've bitten off more than you can chew, and it happens to all of us, proper communication is key. And if something isn't happening on the promised timeline, customers need a way to opt out. And there was no definite timeline given in the initial Instagram post, but it does say that orders will only be open for a week and the bulk order will be placed ASAP, which, would lead anyone to believe that they won't be waiting months upon months for a copy. So I do want to go back and address a few specific lines in this email. So this one says, Ellis has had some things going on that have pulled them away from being able to get the books out. I think that much is pretty obvious. I really don't want to say more about it while keeping Ellis's personal life personal. Okay, that's fine. And I wish them the best. But this isn't even like a Britt Andrews thing where the book isn't written yet, so no one really could help. Allegedly, the books are in Ellis's possession. So order some pizzas and invite some friends over for a packing party. Ellis isn't the one that even needs to do this if it's, personal issues are making it impossible. Ashley or whoever could step up and do the bulk of it if Ellis isn't in a place to be doing that. And then later in the email, Ashley even says many of them are signed and packaged. Just schedule an USPS package pickup. What is going on? The next thing I want to address is this line. The main thing Ellis has asked me to convey here is that there is no ill intention behind the delay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Britt and Isla would also say that there's never been ill intention behind their delays either. The fact remains, though, that if you find yourself on such a large delay that an email like this is necessary, whether or not there was ill intent doesn't really matter. And notice how there's nothing at all mentioned about refunds. So in the next screenshot, you can see that this customer followed up twice with Ashley on September 18th, 2023, and then again on January 10th, 2024, and had no reply. So with no communication and no way to get in contact with Ashley or Ellis, people started to comment on the original Instagram post. So do we get refunds for the book since they aren't coming? Any updates? I know and I'm sure everyone else who spent their hard-earned money on the book would like to receive the product we paid for. Hi Ellis, I love you and your books. I was fine waiting for the special edition, but are they still happening for those of us who have paid already? Sending all my love. I'm so disappointed that I trusted we'd eventually get our books, despite the lack of communication. Clearly that's not the case, and as others have stated, PayPal pretty much refuses to even entertain a refund claim due to the fact it's been so long. I can't even view the original invoice I received because it's flagged as fraudulent. So after international shipping and conversion, I've lost over 100 Australian dollars. Even a partial refund and an explanation would have been welcome. Life happens, but taking our money and leaving us in the dark is completely unacceptable, especially after we've supported you and your work. So it wasn't until February 10th, 2024, over a year since sales were opened up, that there were any more updates. And again, I'm just gonna read the whole thing through and then I'll go back with my thoughts. So we have yet another mock-up, not an actual picture of the book. Update, I'm going to create a Google form and put the link in my bio for anyone who ordered the Wrath paperback and did not get a refund. As you who ordered the book know, there were various shipping delays and the timeline was pretty ridiculously fucked. Many people understandably got tired of waiting and force-filed refunds through PayPal and Venmo. Those people are not to blame, and I understand why they took action when they felt tired of waiting. However, since I'd already paid print costs and shipping from printer to me for such a large number of pricey books, when the majority of buyers force-filed refunds, meaning the vendor issued a refund without my consent, that left me in the red. I was pretty low on money at the time and didn't really have a way to fill orders for the minority who didn't force-file and receive a vendor-issued refund. For a long while, I was dealing with some personal challenges and felt very underwater, plus financially unable to fix the situation. So I just stayed offline. This wasn't a good way to handle things, and I regret that I gave in to my freeze response rather than communicating well. I don't blame anyone for being upset with me. I'd like a list of people who want either book or refund. I'll begin working through it at a pace at which I'm financially able. People who get book or refund will be asked to do something, not sure what yet, to show others they did. So you can see this thing is actually happening, even if slowly. I'd do it all today if I could, financially, but as it is, it'll have to be slower. I want you to know I didn't end up with money due to how this happened with the vendor-issued refunds. Not because I don't want people to be mad at me, it's fair if you are, but because I want you to understand I didn't take your money, so to speak. I spent your money on books I wasn't able to send because the collective got impatient and most people force-filed refunds. Again, those people aren't to blame. I'm clearly at fault here. I just wasn't able to fix it and got overwhelmed. It was wrong of me to communicate so little for so long. I'm truly sorry. Okay, so let's unpack this and we will look at the Google form in a minute. So I'm not saying with absolute 100% certainty that there was zero communication at all between the email that was sent out almost a year prior and this post, but I am fairly confident that there wasn't based on the information I have. So it's weird to say that people who ordered would know that there were various shipping delays and the timeline was fucked. I mean, unless they mean that people know that because they haven't gotten their books yet. Ellis then goes on to say that they don't blame people for force filing refunds, while at the same time mentioning that those people are the reason they were left in the red. If only there were a way to avoid this. And that's not even mentioning the fact that people were being ignored, so of course they filed refunds. Next is the quote, I was pretty low on money at the time and didn't really have a way to fill orders for the minority who didn't force file and receive a vendor-issued refund. So, to me, this sentence doesn't make sense. How would you not have a way to fill orders when people paid you for them? And if Ellis already has the books in hand, like they claim to, is it not just a matter of shipping it out? Like, it doesn't make sense. Next thing, I'd like a list of people who want either book or refund. I'll begin working through it at the pace at which I'm financially able. So, first of all, why do they not already have such a list? That feels like a red flag. Secondly, nothing riles me up like authors, or anyone I guess, but who refuse to admit that they spent their customers' money incorrectly. Like, this didn't happen to you. It happened because you did something wrong. And again, I'm not really understanding why the current state of their finances have anything to do with being able to send out the books. Again, unless they were lying when they said they already had them. And yes, sure, shipping costs money, but that money was already paid. So unless they use it on something else, where's the problem? I want you to know that I didn't end up with money due to how this happened with the vendor-issued refunds. Not because I don't want people to be mad at me, it's fair if you are, but because I want you to understand I didn't take your money, so to speak. Like, come again? Again, makes no sense and is honestly just annoying. I spent your money on books I wasn't able to send, then the collective got impatient and most people force-filed refunds. Again, those people aren't to blame. Impatient? How long are people supposed to wait? The books were paid for over a year before this. I would hardly call that impatient. Just me, maybe? I don't know. So yeah, basically this entire post was nothing but excuses and then pretending to take accountability. but actually just placing the blame on people who filed refunds. So let's take a quick look at the Google form that was linked with this post. So it's Wrath Special Edition Redo for people who want to get books they bought, get a refund, or order a new book. Okay. Your name, your email, name and mailing address. Order a new book, by the way. That's funny, because why would anyone order this now, knowing that they might never get it? I'm like, maybe some people did that like missed out and are like not paying attention to all this is happening, but that's, yeah, poor decision. What are you after? A not yet purchased copy of Wrath Special Edition, a copy of Wrath I already bought, a refund for a copy of Wrath I bought. I have read the post on Ellis's Instagram page and understand this is going to be a slow process. You must click yes. There's not another thing to click. When I get my book, I'll share it on my social media so other people can see that orders are being fulfilled. Sure. Once again, no other option. You must click sure. Like, how dare they require that their customers share proof on social media? Like, you do not get to make demands, my friend. And then to also make people acknowledge that this will be a slow process, even though it's already been a slow process, and like, what choice do they have? That makes me really mad. All right. Next thing I'm going to say, I recognize that this is a matter of personal preference, but I think for being a special edition, this cover is like nothing special. And it leads me to believe, in my opinion only, this is solely what I feel, that this was actually never about the book and was solely about making quick cash. I think that I'm pretty fair when it comes to like stating whether or not I think something was shady from the beginning. So I don't say that lightly. But like with orders only being open for a week, no promotion beforehand, this boring cover, and then the disappearing act once the money was in hand, I'm not sure how we're expected to think this was all done in good faith. And I mentioned it before, but it's also interesting that the photo shown in the Instagram post that was made after the books were allegedly delivered is still just a rendering and not an actual photo of the physical book. Because that's just one of those things that I've mentioned in the past. I think it was about Isla Olsen. She claims she has these books. Okay, show us a picture. Why would you not? You could end this, you could show proof and people would get off your back. But like, if you don't do that, what are people to think? And did I mention that a special edition did come out during the same time frame? Yes. A UK-based company called Romance Me Book Box featured Wrath with a special illustrated cover. Obviously, this book box had nothing to do with this whole situation. It just sucks that people who ordered a special edition of this book 6 months earlier still haven't received it. And it seems that this book box did a like super limited run, because it's currently available on eBay for the low price of $600. And it was also previously sold on Mercari for a perfectly reasonable $250. So, you know, that's just a side note, just a shitty thing for people who are still waiting for their books. And that's where things stand as of now. As always, I will update if I find out anything else. I will pass it along. Sorry, this wasn't the most in-depth video I've ever done, but this was truly as much as I could find anywhere. And I still think it was worth speaking about because, I mean, this is a shady situation that is unresolved. So that's what I want to help with. So as you guys know, I am sprinkling in some small business spotlights in addition to my regular indie author spotlights. And today I want to talk about a small business called Heartsome Co that features self-care products focused especially towards people with skin issues. The company was founded because the owner is disabled and has many allergies and was always sad that she couldn't find products that were safe for her skin. She works extremely hard to make sure as many people as possible can safely use her products. She does intense research and she only buys the highest quality ingredients. And we all know that books and baths go great together. So I think one of the coolest products they feature is this Dice bath bomb that has a D20 inside once it's used. So it's like a perfect gift if you have any gamers in your life. I personally don't play any tabletop games, but I do have a few friends who I think would love this, and I just think like the concept is fun. Like this bath bomb that's themed on something, and then inside is like a little something something. I think it's cool. Heartsome also has a full ingredient list on all item pages, so you can make sure that it's okay for you to use. They have been kind enough to offer a 25% discount to my viewers with the code BOOKLOVER, and of course I will have that linked in the description along with a link to purchase. And even if you don't make a purchase, a simple follow on social media can really help small businesses get seen. If you'd like your small business to be featured, or if you have one you'd like to recommend to me, feel free to fill out the form in my description for a chance to be highlighted. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love it if you would. Make sure to check out my Bindery page if you'd like to support me over there. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!